Hello and welcome to Gameweek 24 of the Premium Player FPL podcast. What feels like the longest game week in history, Gameweek 23. For those that have still got Watford or Burnley players, hopefully for a return this weekend. Maybe not Dennis, but for the rest of the players, hopefully get a bit of. What you thinking? Are you getting your head around the double game weeks? The double game week 26 just been announced. Obviously, double game week coming in 25 with the United and Brighton as well.
Yeah, well, it was just announced today, wasn't it? So it's made everything a bigger clusterfuck than it was already, isn't it? It's like playing. I've not played it yet, but it seems like playing a game of Wordle, putting things together in a puzzle. I'm hoping to make a plan by the end of this. I think we should probably just say we're reacting to it quite fresh. We don't really have everything in our heads with clarity just yet. So yeah, I've got some initial thoughts, but I reckon they'll probably change quite quickly as we get more news over the next couple of days. But yeah, looking forward to getting my head back in the FPL game. I think switched off after the Watford game for like a good 10 days after seeing the start of that double. Even though I didn't have Dennis, it was still very disappointing.
Thoughts for all those who've got Dennis as captain as well. Not only he got sent off, but with the longest game in history, if you're logging on to FPL for 2 weeks, you're seeing that big minus as your captain. A bit of a shame.
You were talking up Luca Dean, weren't you? It's one of those where one of those where I should have just done that rather than bringing in King. Like, it's one of those where sometimes the doubles sways you thinking a bit too much, and getting a player who's got good points potential and a good single and good fixtures coming up. There was a lot going for Aston Villa players, wasn't there? We've talked about them quite a lot. So I remember just ending that game. Well, the game week's not finished, but I remember coming out of that game thinking should have just got Dean, kicking myself over that one. But who knows? King could still get a hattie under defensive Woy at the weekend. It's a bit of it compounds things even more, that, doesn't it? Roy Hodgson coming in, one of the most defensive managers of the last 5 years in the Premier League. We'll talk more about Watford later, because it's an interesting one, that whether to keep or ditch now, because they've got a double, but they've got Roy Hodgson as the manager. Should we get into talking about scores so far from last week?
Yeah, so far, I'm actually having a relatively good game week for once. 44 points, but it's been a very low scoring game week, hasn't it? The field. Obviously, Ramsdale 8 delivers once again. Digne, who were brought in, 12. I see that pay off. Trent 2, Cancelo 2. So the two big hitters blanked. Foden 2, Maddison 2, Jota 5 with an assist. Martinelli 3 with a clean sheet. Ronaldo 2, Kane 2. And then King 4 as captain. So I actually said he had a good score, but it was just Digne and Ramsdale, wasn't it? But not many teams still have Ramsdale just because of the doubles that have kind of added up, and the De Gea's come into it, Sanchez as well. So Ramsdale's not a case of early on in the season where everyone had him. So I actually made a few points there, I reckon, on the whole. But Digne was a big one, wasn't
it? Did you must have had a decent bit of green.
Yeah, up to 350 now. So yeah, rising every week. I think I was about 500k at one point. So still, I think the aim's probably top 100k at this point to finish the season, but we'll see. Still got all chips, and as you hate, a bit of team value in the bank. So fingers crossed I can make a bit of an attack on Mindy now.
Yeah, you. I've been joking about your rank all season, but at the end when you cash in your team value for an extra 100k rank prizes, you'll be laughing, won't you?
Fuck it. It'll be 100 points late in the season when I'm playing that final wildcard, fella.
So were you tempted to get Dennis at all?
No, I was set on Digne. I brought in. I've just moved on to your team to make sure sure it works. But yeah, I brought in Digne in for bloody hell, that long ago. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Dallo.
While you're figuring it out, I'll just say it was quite close for me between Dennis and King, and I made my
Rhys
transfer like
James
10
it
minutes
was.
before So yeah, I felt very relieved that I went for King. I went for the there's been this whole debate on Twitter about Grass FC versus Analytics FC, because King is the stats one does better on the stats, whereas Dennis looks better like on the eye test. So there's this thing of being in which camp are you in? Are you in Grass FC or are you in Analytics FC? So I sort of went with the stats option for King, and his minutes seemed a bit more secure, and he's on pens. So thankfully that
nice. You love the grass.
So yeah, what was I going to say? Watching Cucho and King almost have a Barney in the middle of the game was funny when Cucho was refusing to pass to him. There was a couple of things there, a couple of times there where King could have been in, and Cucho just didn't want to pass to him. But yeah, I can't complain overall on that one, given that I didn't get Dennis. There's not really much else to say about my team, to be honest. Everyone kind of flatlined.
Bringing Mount last week. Was he?
That was a week. It was the week before when Chelsea had the double.
Right.
What was my other transfer? I don't think I did another transfer now. So yeah, like you said before, it's hard to remember back this far. Yeah, that was it. I think just brought in King. I've got some problems though now with the two Chelsea boys. So definitely a Callum style hit coming up this week, I think.
Not tempted by the wild card? I see a few playing it this week.
I've not thought about it yet.
Just to get Salah back, can't you? That's the other problem.
Well, what's happened in? I've not actually followed AFCON. Do we know who's won that game yet?
Oh, the game. I think it was still 0-0 last time I checked.
Because that affects things quite a bit, doesn't it? Depending on the third place player.
Still 0-0, 60th minute.
Because yeah, so if Egypt,
so you think he won't play to get to the final? Final Sunday.
How many days is that between that and the game?
Doing this off the cuff, aren't we? Should be Wednesday is their game, so it all depends whether he gets a bit of a break, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably rely on a bit of a steer from Klopp. Liverpool and United schedules for this month with the doubles and the Champions League is quite a lot. So it's going to be interesting.
Carabao Cup as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure yet. I don't think I've got 5 million in the bank, so I don't need to play the wild card to get Salah back if that's what I need to do.
Fair.
Should we get into just talking about the doubles? We've already started pretty much.
Yeah. I think it's lagging a bit, so I pressed it a few seconds ago. So this is just brief outline really of the 26 doubles for those who haven't seen today. Obviously United and Brighton, as we just talked about earlier, got a double in 25, but these are the fixtures in 26. So there'll be 8 teams doubling. So Burnley, Spurs, Watford, Palace, Liverpool, Leeds, Arsenal, Wolves, and the standout there, obviously Liverpool's fixture at home to Leeds. They've also got Norwich that game week, so people are going to be getting trigger happy over that triple captain.
What's this graphic about? You've only put in half the fixtures.
So these are the teams that are doubling in 26.
Right, okay. I would have put the first both the fixtures that they're in. Oh, we've got that on another one coming up, don't we? To be fair. Yeah. So which
you won't be able to see it if you had about 20 fixtures on.
It'll only be 4 more. Anyway, let's crack on. Which team immediately stood out to you as the one to target, apart from Liverpool?
here we go. Is the bigger outline if this is what you're after. Yes, Liverpool have got less. Norwich and Leeds, as we talked about, obviously 2 fixtures to come before that. Leicester and Burnley. In terms of other teams, Arsenal, Brentford, Wolves, Watford, Villa, Palace. But are you going to be trusting Watford? We've all been burned by them this week, so far anyway.
You know what? Actually, shall we go through each club that has the doubles, and we can just talk through like club by club, like the ramifications, the players, the fixtures, that do it that way.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Let's start with. Should we start with United because they've got the first double this week? So not this week, the week after.
Next
Game
week,
5. Yeah. So you've already got Ronaldo, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you
and
looking
Dallo.
to add?
I've got Dallo as well. I probably won't go 3. Not in my team anyway, just because United are a bit not trustworthy at the best of times, are they?
Yeah, I think probably the same. I only have one. I only have Ronaldo, and I'm not really looking to add, especially now there's all this other stuff to think about. I think I was just going to make the point here about fixture congestion for United. So it's easier to see on this chart here. This chart, by the way, is from Lego Money on Twitter. If you're not following, or if you want to go and check it out yourself, he's very on it when he comes to fixtures. Maybe it's the hipster version of Ben Crellin. Bit of a rivalry there. I wonder if they compete to get out the fixture matrices first. So when is it that United have Atletico Madrid? So yeah, United have Atletico Madrid in the Champions League on the 22nd, which is just after game week 26. So given that Ronaldo has been carrying a bit of a knock and Rangnick's been trying to manage his minutes and they've been falling out about it, he loves the Champions League, Ronaldo, doesn't he? And especially playing against Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid, when he was at Juventus, was that game where, like,
was it the fans were baiting him first?
Yeah, and then he scored a hat trick in the second leg. Yeah. So he's going to be relishing that fixture, and in terms of his own personal glory and everything, his Champions League goals record is something he loves. So it's something to think about, like, because I think for a lot of people it's Bruno or Ronaldo if you've not got one. I actually think that maybe Bruno's minutes will be more secure, especially around the fixtures around the Champions League one. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that there. It's something to think about. If you've got Bruno and you've not got Ronaldo, I wouldn't actually worry about it that much. I think. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I wouldn't be in at this point. Even when you bring in Salah, I'd probably keep Bruno as like a placeholder for Son, because obviously Spurs have got a double coming and stuff. So I'd actually be tempted to even keep Bruno, even when the Salah change happens, and try and make money elsewhere. Obviously, it's quite a bit of money make up, but whether you take money out your forward line or something like that. But yeah, another team. I might as well talk about them while I'm speaking now. Is obviously Spurs. They've got the double in 26 as well, haven't they? And they've got a couple of nice fixtures before then as well. Southampton, Wolves, and then the double is City, bit of a tough fixture, but followed by Burnley, and then Leeds and Everton off the back of that as well. So it's going to be an interest. I actually think this kind of period over the next 3 or 4 weeks, is where we might get to see a few different teams, because a lot of the core of teams now are quite similar, aren't they? And I think it'll depend whether you go Kane, Ronaldo. De Bruyne's obviously back playing his best form that he has done for a few years, but City don't have a double, and they have great single fixtures. We saw with Digne at the 2 weekends ago now that it's not always about the double, is it? But I actually think it's going to be interesting with Salah coming back and seeing the variance with the premium players.
Yeah, I haven't considered Spurs as much, just because I think if you're going to get one, you've got to get them now, really, this game week before Southampton, to capitalise on the run. and with Son not being maybe fit yet, he's not started a game since he's come back from injury, has he? I don't even know if he's actually.
No. I think he's training now.
Right. So in terms of who you get from Tottenham, it'd be Kane, wouldn't it? Which is hard to do.
Yeah, I think it's because I've got Kane already, and I'm
Right.
pretty reluctant to sell him ahead of these fixtures now.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably.
No, yeah, I wouldn't sell Kane.
It'll probably be
the most
Ronaldo
shots over
to
the
get
last
sold.
6.
Yeah.
And yeah, what we were saying before about Ronaldo's minutes, like there's no way he's gonna be able to keep up with the schedule. So United in February they've got 6 games, and yeah, there's only 3 days between the Premier League games and the sandwich after the Atletico Madrid game. So yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan. Tottenham defenders are tricky as well. If we stick to Tottenham, there's just the wing backs getting rotated quite a bit. Reguilon's not
surprised
as
at that.
secure as we thought, and yeah, they're not. The stats are good, but they do seem to concede goals as well, don't they? So I'm not sure Tottenham are actually top of my list at the moment. A team I wanted to talk about actually was Palace, because they've got a good run starting this week as well. So Norwich, Brentford, and then they've got in the double they've got Chelsea and Watford, and then after the double they've got a good fixture in Burnley, which is handy. So you don't need to rush them out if you get them. Can't consider Gallagher, would be the go-to because of Chelsea. He won't be able to play against his parent club, which is annoying. But Edouard, Elise, they've all looked quite good recently. The only thing that makes it all tricky is Mateta's been coming on, getting minutes and looking all right. Zaha's coming back from AFCON. Ayew's coming back from AFCON. It's going to be quite hard to nail down who's going to get the most minutes, and they're all going to be competing with each other, aren't they? But for me, I'd quite like the idea of if it does become clear who the standout option at Palace is in terms of the strikers between, it's probably Edouard. I think King to Edouard is something I'm considering. Because yeah, I just don't think, even though Watford have a double, I just don't see them scoring. Like the fixtures they've got aren't great, and they've got a manager who likes to sit back and soak up and nick a goal from a set piece or whatever. So yeah, that brought in King last week. I can't wait to get rid of him. Basically, what's your thoughts on King and Crystal Palace strikers?
King, yeah, I've had him for about 10 weeks, 10 maybe, but the stretch 8, about that, just because of the stats and the fixtures. And like you say, he's not delivered in the good fixtures, and now the fixtures start to stiffen up slightly. Obviously, West Ham, Brighton, even Villa now with Gerrard and Palace, and just good defences, aren't they? So they're not going to score too many goals. And obviously, adding to the fact Hodgson, defensive manager. So yeah, not too keen on them. In terms of striker, obviously you've got Ollie Watkins now, who's a bit more expensive, isn't he, than Edouard and other people. He's probably 7.1, 7.4-ish. But those fixtures now for Leeds, Newcastle, Watford, Brighton, Southampton, and 2 fixtures to be arranged, Burnley and Leeds. I think round the midpoint teams, Villa's probably the team I'm looking for now. Obviously got Digne and looking to get an attacker. So that's probably where I'm swaying towards attacking wise when I do make a change.
So what would you do when it comes to game week 26 then? And you're looking to get as many doubles as possible. Would you just keep Watkins in?
Yeah, for that. Watford, yeah. Yeah, because Watford is better than some of the doubles, isn't it? Like when you look at Palace, Chelsea and Watford, but then Aston Villa got Watford anyway, and you're relying on Palace players to deliver against Chelsea.
Yeah, you're confusing me now. It's that whole argument of not letting the double sway you when maybe better options with players who have singles. I guess also with Watkins, his minutes are secure. Like he looks like he's
Doesn't ratings, does
ahead.
it?
I think it's because he's such a good runner, isn't he? He does the pressing from the front, sets the tone for the intensity, which maybe Ings can't do as much for 90 minutes. Is there anyone else you'd consider from Palace then, if you're not keen on the strikers?
The defense is tricky, isn't it? Because when you got Cancelo and Trent, you've only really got one or two more, and Palace really. In terms of defensive fixtures, trying to think who comes in ahead of Palace. Obviously, got Wolves' great defense, but the fixtures aren't too great. Same with Brighton, fixtures aren't too great. So maybe you do stretch to. It sounds a bit uninspiring, but they do have good fixtures, so that's why you do stretch with Palace.
Fair. Should we move on? I'll let you pick the team to talk about next.
Oh, just carrying on this, sorry.
I mean, we've not covered Arsenal yet, have we? If we want to talk about Arsenal.
Yeah, obviously a few blanks coming. Well, 25, isn't it, when they're supposed to play? My eyes are failing me. When they're playing Chelsea, isn't it, the Club World Cup? So they've actually got a blank next week. So I wouldn't be bringing them in this week and then obviously next week. But then a great double, isn't it? Brentford and Wolves. I've got Martinelli, so I might keep him on bench just for that reason.
Yeah,
but I actually think Arsenal's where the defence comes in. I think the defence is really good now. And obviously the numbers to back it up. So when you got Tierney, Ben White, when the double and the games that come after, I think that's why I've attempted to go with Arsenal.
I saw a tweet before saying that in this little bit of gap that they've had to train, Martinelli's been trialled as a striker, or he's been seen playing as a striker in training. Because obviously they're short now in striking options. They didn't bring anyone in, and Orba's gone, so you can see him getting minutes as up front, which just strengthens his appeal, doesn't it, for Martinelli?
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to touch on that. Go on. I actually wanted to touch on a thought that I had earlier around. This means not triple captain. This means not triple captain in Salah, but basically, if Salah's not back for Leicester and you kind of want to go without him for Burnley, make that risk. If you play your free hit in 26, then you don't have to worry about Salah in 27, where most people have got 3 Liverpool players who will have to bench because they're obviously playing Carabao Cup final. So that's just a thought that I've not seen yet, where, yeah, free hit 26, get all the best doubles, and then when it comes to 27, you're not having to worry about Salah. For me, on my team, I'd have Harry Kane against Leeds and Ronaldo against Watford, for example, which on paper sounds good, but Ronaldo probably blank and Kane will. But yeah, it's just a thought that I had earlier, and that might be something different to take, a different route to take. But it means going without Salah for the game, which is risky.
Well, let's talk about that then now. So Liverpool, the other team, with obviously the fixture congestion. You'd think that Salah's going to start against Inter in the Champions League. So let's say if he comes back and he's back in time to play Leicester, and then Burnley would be the game where maybe he doesn't get 90, right?
Yeah.
Or if he does get 90 and then he plays 90 against Inter, and he's just come back from AFCON, plays 3 90s in a row. Is he then the easiest fixture in the next 5 is Norwich, isn't it? And that's the one which you're hoping on for the. We've not mentioned it yet, but everyone's sort of saying triple captain Salah locked in.
I mean, if you do what I say and play free hit, you don't have the option of doing that triple captain, do you? Which could be a big mistake as well.
But yeah, it's just something to think about. It's sometimes it's best not to overthink, but I do wonder how he's going to manage Salah in this period. Because even though he's a supremely fit athlete who can seemingly play whenever he wants, like he's not had much rest this season, he's not needed it, but the pitches they've been having to play on AFCON haven't looked great, and some of his matches have been going to I think 2 matches in a row went to extra time, so he's been racking up the minutes. So Klopp's going to have to give him a break at some point, and when that comes, it's going to be quite interesting. So if you do that option that you said, and you don't triple captain Salah in 26 because you've done the free hit, and he ends up being benched against Norwich, you could come out laughing. So if you're making a gamble that you think that's the game where he's going to have his minutes managed, that could play into your hand in terms of going for that strategy.
Yeah, it's just a thought. I think if we do get news that he gets a week off, for example, say he gets a week off, doesn't play Leicester and Burnley, I think that might become a popular strategy then. The free hit,
Yeah,
26, just because the blank immediately after. But yeah, it's the Burnley game. If it was Leicester straight into that 26, then I probably would be more tempted by this. But we'll see as the week progresses, because I don't think I'll make a change in 24, so that gives me a bit of breathing space.
are you rolling a transfer?
First time this season.
Yeah, I almost jumped out of my seat there. What was I going to say? While we're on Liverpool, what are your thoughts now on the best three to have? A lot of people are thinking Robertson's now better than Jota with the arrival of Diaz.
It'd be interesting, that, won't it? Obviously, yeah, an extra attacker into the fray, and Jota 100 already, so it's interesting. And if you think where Diaz is likely to be blooded in, it will be them easier Premier League games, won't it? And Jota will be playing Champions League. You don't think it'll be vice versa, so it's interesting.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm just gonna have to stick that. It's like I do with this news and with that arrival, prefer the idea of having Robertson, but it's a luxury transfer, that, isn't it? It's 2 transfers, taking out Jota and bringing Robertson in because they're not in the same position. But if you don't already have Jota, maybe it is a good opportunity to differentiate yourself. Have your third option with Robertson. Anything else on Liverpool?
Yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on before? No, I think that's it.
Is there any other team we need to talk about?
Now at Club World Cup. Chelsea now at Club World Cup, so get rid if you can, because they only play. Obviously, don't play Carabao Cup final as well, so they've only got 1 fixture in the next 4. Which, yeah, you've still got Chelsea players.
Oh, we've not talked about Burnley yet. They've got a double.
Is there anyone left? We've obviously got that Weghorst, haven't they? New striker.
Yeah,
I think I was tempted by anyone. Burnley, Pope.
Sounds like they've upgraded. He's taller for a start.
Weighs more.
What was I going to say? Cornet as well could be interesting.
Yeah, just
Maxwell.
Is it for the double yet? Next 2, obviously, United, Liverpool. Yeah, maybe
yeah, not for now. I was just in this section. I was thinking we just chat through all the teams that have the double in 26. It'll help people make their transfer plans, won't it? I think Cornet is someone I'd be interested in around then. Because from what I've read on Weghorst, it seems like he was quite a creative type of striker. Not seen him play much, but he's one of those that sort of brings people into play. The team play off him. So if Cornet's the one playing off him, mopping up those chances, he was looking great before he went, wasn't he? Well, he had a period where he was looking really good, and he's not had to play that much at AFCON. Didn't get any minutes. Hopefully he will be fresher than some of the other players that are coming back from the tournament. And yeah, Burnley still have lots of games to drop in. So if you get them in just ahead of 26, at least you know you've got a lot of fixture gains on some other players.
Yeah, that's definitely. One last team. Obviously, Frank Lampard's Everton. Dele Alli, which are on the fold. Donny van der Beek, who's not a fantasy asset, but Dele Alli, I think he's 6 million. They got Newcastle, Leeds, Southampton.
Everton don't have a double day.
No double. Just but they've got 3 fixtures rescheduled. They've got Burnley, Newcastle, and Leicester. Were you just talking about the games in 26? Were you?
Yeah, I was going through each team that had double in 26. Yeah, because
Okay.
that's what we did. Like, I thought that was how it would segue on from the last section. We need to be more organised, don't we? We need to chat through what we're doing before we start.
No, I just wanted to touch on obviously the news over the since we last played. This is a tweet, isn't it, that you sent across from Ben Krelling?
Yeah, so it's just interesting, isn't it, seeing here that there's more blanks come in. There's going to be a bigger double come in. I just thought it's interesting to throw this in so that people don't get set in making a plan and like saying it's concrete now, because there's still time for things to change. I think it's important to be as flexible as you can. Like have maybe 2 plans in case you want to change or someone gets injured and something like that. I think the fact that there's going to be more double game week fixtures in 27 to 30, and then game week 36 is going to be a bigger double than the one we've got coming in 26. It's just important things to keep in the back of your mind, like the bigger picture.
Yeah, the FA Cup quarterfinals is game week 30, that isn't it?
Oh yeah, that reminds me. So if you go back to, well, actually, yeah, we can talk about it here. So game week 26, when Burnley have that double, apparently it's very likely that one of their other games is going to drop in 27. So they'd have a double.
Right, yeah. 26, 27.
So yeah, bringing in some Burnley options ahead of 26, you'll get 4 games in 2 weeks.
Right. Interesting.
It's not confirmed that, but very likely.
Dale, might start calling you the Ben Krelling.
Well, no, I've listened to a bit of a FPL before, and Late Riser and Co were saying that's highly likely. Reliable sources.
Hope becomes interesting, I think, potentially, if anyone's wildcarding around that time.
So, have you made any sort of plan around? You mentioned before free hit option instead of triple captain, but have you?
That's the only thought I've had. Just so I can kind of basically have that best 26 team, and then also have a good team the week after when most people have got free. Most people have 3 Liverpool subs, and then whoever's 11, they would have to play, wouldn't they? Or they would have to get Salah out or Trent out, which most teams won't want to do. So I just think that might be a clever way of doing it. I've not thought beyond then.
Interesting, yeah. I've not really. No, I've not really got as far as mapping it all out in terms of what I'd do. I don't think I'm going to need the free hit at the moment in the next few, but there's 2 of those to use. But I think in the FA Cup blank, and then if there's another set of blanks later on in the season, that'll maybe be when I use those. 90% sure I'm going to use the triple captain on Salah in 26. I think it feels like one not to overthink, but because even if he does get benched, as I was saying before, he's had games in the past where he's been benched and come on and scored a brace in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah, that's as far as I've got. Relying on some news over the next few days, presses and other stuff to help solidify a plan. So who's your captain this week? Given
either Ronaldo or Kane, which will be United, Burnley, Tottenham, Southampton, one of them 2, I think. How about you?
Ronaldo. I don't have. Actually, no, this week. Yeah, I think Ronaldo as well. I mean, would you not consider Cancelo, Brentford at home?
Yeah, potentially. That would be left field, but yeah. I don't think it's that out the equation. That actually, I didn't even think of that before you said it. Or maybe Foden as well,
because
it's a bit tricky with rotation.
Brentford's form away from home is awful. So yeah, something. And then in the week after, when United have the double, would it be Ronaldo then?
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's either Ronaldo or Bruno, isn't it? Depending on who you've got.
If you had both, who would you captain?
Ronaldo. Just. See, this what makes the free hit a bit better as well, because you're not going to captain Salah against Burnley, are you?
No.
Are you?
United have
Are you? Yeah. But then I'm just thinking, if you do free hit in 26, you're going to have 3 Liverpool, aren't you? 3 Arsenal. But then where else do you go? There's not that many good doubles, is there? So.
God, yeah, it's just one of those situations though. There's just so many things. Like anytime you think you got it settled, something comes up, and it's like, oh, actually, that's a pitfall for that plan. There's no perfect way of doing it, is there? You've got to pick your poison and sort of.
Yeah, you got to commit yourself.
It's going to be very team dependent, isn't it? And we're obviously talking about all this with our 2 free hits left. As teams, some managers might have used 1 or 2 already.
Yeah, on the wild card, triple cut, yeah.
But yeah, the Salah thing is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I just think it'd be interesting to see how we play it. Just because if you're bringing him in for that Burnley game, let's just think about it. Yeah, so you're bringing him in for the Burnley, Norwich, Leeds, but then the blank straight off the bat, aren't you? So you're getting 3 games out of him before the blank, which probably is worth it when it's Salah.
But then, as I was saying before, there's the Champions League game gets Inter in there, so he won't be able to do all of that. Or, well, I'm guessing he won't be able to do all of that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's something to think about over the next few days. But yeah, obviously we hadn't podded in a while, and thought we'd get something out reacting to everything that's come out today. As you can tell by the way we've waffled through this, we're both still rusty. I feel like we're not polished at the best of times. This is definitely one of our worst podcasts, I think.
Don't talk yourself down, lad.
Well, I mean, you've got to be honest, haven't you? Like some of our other ones have been quite slick the way we've gone through, but it's just so much up in the air, isn't it? It's hard to actually when you don't have a clear.
Yeah, I think it's harder as well. That there's FA Cup as well this weekend. Throws up a big element of doubt, isn't it? Players getting injured and stuff. It's pointless spending too much time onto it. It's almost if you come to it Monday morning and kind of work out the strategy there. I think if Salah makes the final, it makes it easier because you don't have to brush him back for the Leicester game.
Yeah. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap up today? I'm just going to quickly check my notes, see if I had anything else to say.
Still 0-0.
Right. So it could be another. Oh, it's 90 minutes. So it's another 120 minutes game that he's going to have to get in his legs. It's been a bloody tiring AFCON for him.
It's been a slug, yeah.
I mean, the likelihood of Klopp needing to give him a bit of break are increasing by the minute, literally.
Yeah, definitely.
But as you say, hopefully something like that will play into our hands and make our decisions a bit easier.
Yeah. So Captain Cancelo from Indy making any changes this weekend?
I'm not locked on Cancelo.
Right. Bill, you pull out games, getting stronger, lad.
I'm tempted to get rid of King if possible. And I need to get rid of one of the Chelsea players at least, because I've got Alonso and Mount on my bench. But I don't really want to play Dawson, who comes in for me if I bench both of the Chelsea boys. Oh, actually, I could actually play Dawson, because Watford are going to score against West Ham now that Roy's there.
Probably not.
it makes sense to get rid of one of the Chelsea players at least because they've got 2 blanks. So yeah,
3 out of the next 4 are blanks.
Yeah, I mean, I've got enough to actually do Mount to Bruno, but I'd need to make sure I know how I get Salah if I do that. So yeah, as we've been saying throughout the whole thing, it's up in the air. But I'd like to do definitely King to Edouard for the reasons I was saying before. I just don't think that Watford are going to score many goals. Well, so King to Edouard or King to Watkins. You talked me into Watkins.
Yeah.
So that's higher on my agenda, as well as moving one of the Chelsea players.
I think in 2 or 3 weeks' time, I've got enough to do. What was it? It was Maddison to Salah, Ronaldo to Watkins, and King to like a 4.5 striker.
You know what you should do? You should do it early to beat the price rises.
What, and take a -8? The Ronaldo's not double. No, obviously I want Salah back, and I was working out how to do it whilst also keeping that one premium striker spot still free. So yeah, that was my early thoughts.
That was I thought it was very thinly veiled, but it was more veiled apparently than I thought. That was a dig around moving early when you brought Maddison in to beat the price rises, and then he didn't rise, and then his game was cancelled. It feels like ages ago, that doesn't it?
Yeah, there's only 2 game weeks. Yeah, Jesus Christ. But yeah.
Well, as if for people who aren't regular listeners, it's been a recurring motif of the podcast this season. Callum moving early for players with various outcomes, some successful, some not so successful.
Mostly not.
But I was trying to be polite there. Thought end on a don't want to end on a savage note. Anything else to say? I guess we'll be more active on Twitter over the next few days as we get back into it. Good to have a week off, but get back into all the memes and the GIFs. And I've had to mute Wordle on Twitter. I just can't be doing with everyone posting their score. Have you played it yet?
No.
No, it's not for me. I don't understand what it is, and I'm just sick of everyone seeing. It's the first time I've ever muted a word on Twitter. Right. I thought it'd be one of those things that everyone does for a few days and then moves on, but it's just carried on, doesn't it? Maybe it's just because there's not been any games. Hopefully it'll die off of its own accord now.
Hopefully the football will kill everything off.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you'll get a sense of what we're up to, transfer plans and updated strategies and stuff from Twitter. And we're also on Instagram. Follow us there, same handle, premium_FPL. If you listen to this on the podcast, if you could, we'd appreciate it if you could get onto the open up your YouTube and give the YouTube stream a like. We're trying, not that successfully, to build up the YouTube channel, but been encouraged to tell people to like and subscribe more. So this is the obligatory press the button. Please like us. I think that's it.
Sounds like a soundtrack to your life. Please like me. On that note, yeah, hope everyone has a good weekend and see you all again Tuesday, Wednesday. Hopefully pod again Thursday before the last 2 games. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Cool. All right, nice one. See you.
See you, but.